we need to do this in a way that is going to be helpful for you to understand what this is all about. Okay, so what I'm going to do in a moment, and we'll start officially when we're on YouTube and everything, but just, are you ready to discuss this about what just happened? Or would you, rather we don't and just sort of touch on it but move on? Or would you like to really understand from your perspective with facts that I will present to you from a very, very good source to help us understand what this means for the world going forward? Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. Good. Are you ready for something like this? If I ask you and say, for those of you who like the direction the United States is going in as a result of this vote, please go and sit on that side. For those of you who don't like it, please go sit on this side. And for those of you who are in the middle and you're not sure, you don't have to move yet, Mackenzie. Go sit there. Would you be ready to declare where you stand on this at the beginning before we begin to have the class? Because you may find your position being challenged. Both positions, all positions, okay? This is not a pro-Trump or anti-Trump class. It's a class that's attempting to understand something very meaningful for the world. But would you be ready to have that kind of discussion, Alec? Because it's putting some pressure on you guys, and but I do think that this is a great learning moment for all of us. So I know Alec for sure, and Max, you're probably in the inner, so you okay, Michelle? Yeah, you're okay, Ethan? Raven? Yeah, okay. And also, would you be all right too? We'll see, okay? We'll play it out, okay? Okay, I just want you to get ready. We haven't started yet, all right? But because what we're going to do, what I'd like to do, is actually introduce an even bigger idea to all of you today based on this little experiment that we're going to do. I personally feel as an educator that there is no place right now for young people anywhere really in the world to engage in intelligent, factual interaction around this most serious development in the United States. Everybody is in their sort of silos or platforms, in their bubbles. And we have a crisis right now of information. Nobody believes the information they're getting anymore, and we're not sure what facts are even anymore. This is serious. We are entitled to our opinions. We're not entitled to our own facts. And we need to understand what a fact is, and we need to have conversations with each other to learn. So I'm hoping, if this little experiment goes well today, and we'll see where it goes, that Maylene and I are going to create an opportunity for everyone in the world, and we're going to promote this seriously and say, if you want to come and have a discussion, an ongoing discussion, to understand what this means for you in your country, in your part of the world, now that we have this history being made, the global classroom at Durham College in Canada is going to open itself up for a series of conversations. And we're going to fill this room with young people from this campus, and we're going to bring people in from around the world, and we're going to have this on YouTube. Now, that would be something I'm absolutely prepared to do, but it depends how this sort of goes, because we're experimenting today to see The only thing I can say as an educator right now, I'm not going to declare a position. We're at a turning point in history right now. Something very almost existential is taking place in the United States, for better or for worse. And your future now is going to be impacted over the next 4 years and even over the long term in terms of the direction that the United States has chosen to go. And so I want to give all of you an opportunity to understand this, but also I'm going to bring in all the history. I'm going to take us back today to Plutarch and the Roman Empire. It was written in the 1800s by Alexei de Tocqueville. I'll explain, where he told us something to be ready for in democracies. So this is still history, very much, except guess what? You are in short history of the world this semester at this moment when history has just been made in a
Hi,
single
sir.
year. So we have to bring this into the class, okay? So is this all okay in terms of, great. All right, how are we doing?
It's not connecting directly from the USB-C or the other one.
Okay, could you call Elgin? Because
Sure.
we really need to. We'll get going, all right, on this, because this is a class we really want to report. It's critical to get this connected. So we're gonna just carry on, okay? We'll let Maureen go. We're not live yet. We don't have our Cosmos yet, but we will. I have a new computer today, and we're always troubleshooting here. So why don't we first do a little bit of updating, okay, before we get going? And the way I'd like it to kind of work today is the classroom that we've been creating with your assistance over these years is gradually we're getting this great circle going. And what I'd like to do is the student who's sort of speaking will come up there and speak, and it can be seen by everybody, and I'll come over here, and then we'll just sort of move people around. Anybody who really wants to speak will come up, okay, and they can be seen, and so just get ready. Today is going to be pretty exciting, I think, in terms of the classroom really coming together around this format, this setup, and then this amazing thing, which is we have this happening. So, okay. Are we? Wow, excellent. Okay, so we're good.
Mm-hmm.
Great, thank you, Maureen, for doing this. Now up there, could you move these two so that the HDMI, that goes over on this one, and we put the notes in the middle, because our notes are going to be really critical now in terms of how we think this through. And then for over there, could you, I want to tee up a video from the doc. Could you bring, could you put in the doc, on my doc, put that website up here on the PC? So let me just show, because we're moving pretty quickly here. We'll leave that for now. And actually, you know what? To make it easier, we'll leave Steve Bannon up there, because I can talk about him later. But I'm going to put this great course here for now. Have any of you heard of factcheck.org? Yes, Alec? Mackenzie? Good. Okay, we're going to talk about that in a moment. And University of Pennsylvania?
There's one where it shows you the left and right of the different news organizations. And some very right wing, some very left wing.
They say about factcheck.org. Because, okay, so I'm going to leave that up there. And for there, could you just put up, just go to YouTube and run silently and look at Donald Trump's victory speech.
Sure.
Okay? Okay, I'm going to warn you. I want to laugh too, but I'm not going to stay positioned here. We have to. I want to explain, okay, for everybody. Okay, for those of you all online, we started a little later with you. Maureen was getting connected with the new computer, but we're up and running. I've been setting everybody up here for our class today. It's going to be a little bit different, but I'm not going to explain everything that I just told them because I don't want to slow things down. Just fasten your seatbelts, everybody, okay? Online, and get ready because this is going to be quite the class today in terms of bringing history alive. So let me just make sure, Mubarak, hi Mubarak, can you hear me clearly? You can put in the live chat and say yes. Okay, I want to make sure. Okay, awesome, excellent, great. So the first thing is welcome everybody to Short History of the World, our 9th class of this semester on November 8th, is it? 2024, and it's a pretty historic time that we're living in. Before we, in a moment, bring up Alec to do a little review of Repair Cafe and what's been happening with Repair Cafe and where we're going, I want you to know that today we're going to continue the story where we left off last week with sort of spells of our kings, awakenings of power, moving towards a conquest, and I will come back to Plutarch and the Roman Empire, but there's something even more significant. We're going to be having a discussion together, extended discussion about the living history that's happening now in the world with the results of the American election. So this is going to be very much a discussion about the meaning of Donald Trump's return to the White House. But we're going to bring history into this, and a lot else is going to happen, okay? So let's first, to hit the ground running, let's bring Alec up here. And Alec, do you want to just come over here and sit there? And can you just give us a little update on how things went with the, you can stand if you'd like to. I'm just going to, but you also have a place to sit. I will, you're welcome to stand, sit over there. But today what we're going to be doing is whenever there's a student who's really speaking at length, let's make sure everybody can see that student. So let's bring the student up here, not the back of his head. All right. So Alec, can you update the class on the event that we had and what it was like and your thoughts for a few minutes? Go ahead.
So I joined the Repair Cafe at the Toronto Reference Library. I believe it was 2 weeks.
Almost 2 weeks ago.
So we arrived early. I was helping set up. I did a lot of the initial setup of the plugs, the electrical. We helped with the snacks and things like that. And then we got to work with the people and meet the people that actually do a lot of the repairing themselves. And we learned through conversation, I learned why a lot of people were there, why they were doing it. Some people thought it was a social thing. Some people like keeping themselves busy, and some people liked just meeting new people.
Yeah.
It was a great experience because you got to see all different things, and there were different people from all different sectors of life. You had a businessman that looked like he was making something like 6 figures a year, and then there were people that were less fortunate that were there as well that were also to get things repaired. And one of the few repairs that actually really stuck out to me was this gentleman came in, in his early 30s, and he brought in a teddy bear, and the teddy bear looked very degraded, but he told me that it was a teddy bear that he was given when he was born as a child, and there was a big tear across the chest. And so then we went in, and it took a little while, it took about 2 hours, but they were able to repair it fully. He was very happy about it. And it was a great overall feeling and experience of everyone. I was actually going to ask you, because I know there's a smaller one happening this weekend as well.
Oh, so he's on top of it on the website. I just wanted to say that these kinds of sentimental objects, apart from all the high-tech stuff, is really what makes the Repair Cafe pretty amazing too. People bring in things that are so meaningful. They've been broken for so long and they get them fixed.
A gentleman brought in a copy of his Quran, and he had a bunch of notes in it, like hundreds and hundreds of notes in it. And it was in pieces because he said he read it every night and he liked to keep notes in it. And the book repairer repaired it, and it took quite a long time. It was just a very intricate, long process. It was really nice, and it felt like everyone's working together to get things done.
This is great. So I just want to remind all of you that we're going to be having the first Repair Cafe in the Global Classroom on Wednesday, December the 11th. Okay, thanks, Alec. That's excellent. And that we're just starting to plan it. Alec is leading this with Mayreen and then Daniel from the Global Leader class as well. I know Raven has expressed some interest in it, but if you would like to get involved in setting this up here, we will have the Repair Cafe going Wednesday, December the 11th, from about 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. in this space, or that's our plan. And after class today, Maylene and I will be sitting in the atrium having a meeting. And if Alec can join us, that will be great. Okay, I'm just informing him of this for the first time. And Maylene is getting ready to make posters and other information. And then she's going to have an event next week in the pit over there to promote the event so that we can find as many young people on campus here who like to fix things. Yeah, Alec?
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. It's okay. We'll just keep the microphone going and yeah, it's on.
I feel the biggest, like the easiest thing to find will probably be repairs for computers because we have a lot of very well-going tech students, but everything from computers, appliances, jewelry, books, clothing. If anyone has any skills in that, it's good to look into.
I love you at the library, the Toronto Reference Library. Alec was there on the easel, making a list of all the different people who came in and helping to direct them to the right pictures. In the end, how many people do you think that you wrote on that board?
86.
86 people came to get things fixed at the Toronto Reference Library, and there were, I think, about 30 fixers or more, or...
That was 86 only for the textile, so clothing and...
So there was more for...
I wasn't on that side. They had one.
Okay, keep it. Sorry. You got to get these microphones up here working better so that you don't have to worry about the karaoke. But so all of you are welcome to participate in this event if you really want to be part of something cool for the future that is really growing. And that is people bring things to a place that they want repaired instead of throwing the things out. And the people who know how to fix these things sit with them. And we even had pizza and we had, coffee and other things. So that's Repair Cafe. It's a global movement. There are about 4,000 of them happening now around the world in different countries. And Repair Cafe Toronto is really growing. And we're going to have the first one in Oshawa, December the 11th.
On the website, what's the difference between, because there's like a Repair Cafe and there's one that's on Sundays, that seems like a different type.
It's a small one. There are a lot of, the one we were at, Alec, that was a big one. That was when we started the organization 12 years ago or so. We used to have these big events. But now, because there are a lot of other people who want to have regular events, they organize their own smaller events in their neighborhoods regularly. And there's one going every Sunday. There's things going in different neighborhoods, but then we also have these bigger events happening, every so often too. So there's lots going on, but we've yet to get this going in Oshawa. And I'm really excited about doing this with my students, and so anyways, we'll be in the atrium at 2:00 if you want to join the discussion. And this is an opportunity for all of you, and you'll be hearing more about it in the future. Thanks for the update, Alec. That's great. Okay, so before we jump right into the big main event today and make sure we have time for this, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping and make sure everything is good. You have received all of your marks now for your first two assignments. Everybody will receive their marks. I've been keeping up to date on posting the participation marks as well. I'd like to give you a little bit of general feedback on the two assignments. And if any of you would like individual feedback, you can email me and I will provide that to you. With the volume of students I have this semester and things going on, I can't give individual feedback to everybody. But a lot of students are doing well. They're getting 10 or 9 out of 10 quite regularly on their assignments. But some are getting lower than that. Some are getting 8, 7, 6, and some are failing. And so for those students, and you know who you are right now, given the mark that you received, I just want to give you a little bit of general feedback. Could you write this on the, just put general feedback. And for those of you who are doing well, you can listen as well. You might find it interesting, but if you're receiving a 10 or a 9, keep doing what you're doing. And if you got a 9, probably the only reason you didn't get a 10 is your writing mechanics needs just a little work. It was a little bit sloppy, maybe some proofreading needs to be done. But really the problem starts when you're getting, 7, 6, 5, and 4. That's where what I have to say really applies. For those of you who are watching the recordings, please listen and please remember, I can't give you individual feedback, but I can give you this. But if you want individual feedback after what I just said, please email me and I will provide that. The first thing is AI is an issue. I am noticing that what some students are doing is they are delivering assignments that are really well written, but they're not referring to what was covered in the class. They're providing historical information that's quite broad, and it's really, really well written, and the assignment is coming in with subheadings, nice bold subheadings, which is exactly what Copilot provides when you ask it to deliver your pizza. I mean your assignment. Some of you appear to be writing your assignments as if you are asking for a pizza to be delivered, which is, would you please just give me a little bit of pepperoni and a little bit of, thin dough and nice spice, and just put it all together and let's deliver it to Lon. This is a problem. And some of you may not have even received a mark yet, because I want to talk to you about this to make sure. Just to give you an example of how this is being abused, in another one of my classes this week, I had a student 1 hour after the class deliver his third assignment that is now due. By the way, you have third assignments due. And he delivered it 1 hour after the class, perfectly written, but there wasn't much reference to what we covered in the class. It was very broad, and it sounded like a computer. Oh man, my heart was broken when I saw that, because this student had been doing well, and it made me start to question whether that student has been handing in stuff through the whole semester that he's been doing well on, or she. I don't want to give away any identification, and it's making me question whether I've been wrong about this student. So I'm having this happen more than once. The second problem is sloppy writing. Writing mechanics. You're not writing proper English sentences. Not only is the punctuation off, the sentences are not complete. It sounds like you just wrote it on your Facebook or Meta account as quick. Definitely you're going to get hit hard with a fail on that. But I will help you find a tutor to rewrite it. You must pay attention to your sentences and your writing, especially in this class. Knowing what you do now of how important the development of writing has been for the advancement of humanity, if you are handing in things that are poorly written, you're not getting it at all. You're not listening to the lectures, you're not understanding. You would be doing poorly in your mark. Word count. Some of you are handing in things that for 425 words to 450, it's coming in at 200 words. I have to start hitting you on the word count on that. You have some wiggle room if you come in at 400 or 500, but low on the word count, no good. Okay? And integration, of course, material as well. You're writing about things that sometimes are interesting, but you're not referencing what we've covered in the class very much. And it makes me think that you're not really in the class, okay? So a lot of you are doing very well. You don't have to worry. But for those of you who are getting lower marks, if you didn't understand what I just said, email me and I can help you some more. My job is not just to teach you about history and help you understand. My job is to help you to understand history so you're ready for the future. That's really what my job is. Okay. Does anybody have anything they'd like to say before we get going? Alec? Please go ahead. And then Ethan, yeah.
In terms of word count, I found that when I was writing, I think the second one, I just kept going and I got to like 800 words and then I had to cut.
Yeah.
What was that? Oh.
Less is more. It's hard to write a little. It's easy to write a lot.
Depends on if you're interested.
You still gotta make choices. So the more, I will give a student 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 if they hand in 600 or 700 words when the limit is only 450 to 500 or 425 to 450, because they were really engaging with the content. And it was so obvious that they're into it and they're listening. But still, they're not doing the hard critical thinking, which is you gotta bring it down. You're like the coach who's got to decide, I got 4 lines to put on the rink tonight. I got 12 guys. I got 4 centers. I got 4 left wings. I got 4 right wings. But I got all these other guys too that are terrific. But I got to make the choice. In fact, on the power play, I got to figure out who should go out there. And so I got to make choices and choices. And every time you make choices, you are engaging in critical thinking. And if you have to bring it down from 800 words to 400, it means the choice you're making will bring you to what is absolutely essential that you have to say. And that is the hardest thing to do in writing. Real writing, by the way, is rewriting. That's why writing for many people is hard. Real writing is not just talking and transcribing what comes out of your mouth. That's talking. That's perishable. The words just disappear in the air. But once you have to write something and it's there for all time, well, you better start rewriting and make sure those sentences are right, okay? But does that make sense, Alec, in terms of less is more?
I said I cut it down.
Yeah, good. You did cut it. So, Sharon, you okay with that? Yeah.
I thought I had the opposite problem.
Yep, go ahead.
Thanks. I thought I had the opposite problem. I would say everything I wanted, but I would be quite at the word count. Like,
Okay.
it's around 400 words, but I've said all I need to say. So
Yes.
I found myself like trying to think of filler words, filler sentences to
That's
make
not
myself
good.
up.
Yeah. Well, then, you know what? I think you're going to like what's coming, Shannon, because now there's going to be research involved. In the third assignment, you will have one source that you have to include in the body of it. So that means you're going to be exposing yourself to some new things, not just what's happening in the class. And you've got to bring that into your reflection and then put the citation at the end. Okay. And then in the final assignment of the semester, at the end, it will be twice that, 1,400 to 1,500 words with at least 3 sources. So I think that doing more research is going to help you. Okay. Yeah. Good. Justin, and then Kyle. Yeah, and then come in. Okay. I'll bring it over. That's okay. So go ahead.
Just a quick question about the source we're using.
Yes.
Actually, more so about the number of sources. So, is there is the one source we're using like the minimum, or do we just use?
Just for the third assignment, just one.
Okay.
Just one source that you quote and take information from to support your point in the third assignment, and then you put that one source in your citation, APA or MLA format, I don't care, okay, as long as it's cited. Kyle, you have something you wanted to, did you want to come in? So, you can just stand there if you like, as long as they can hear you. Yeah.
Well, for me, it was easier to come up with something that I already have a passion for, and so opinion based, I can talk for hours, so I can also write. So I agree with him. If you're gonna have a hard time
Yeah.
writing out words, just really want to say, try to convince someone otherwise.
The hardest thing I always find with thinking, with real critical thinking, is what's the essence of what I want to say? Like what's like non-negotiable, so critical here, the beating heart. That's what cutting forces you to do. And then once you cut that, you really feel like you have a strong point. But it's a lot of sanding. The rewriting is like you're sanding that beautiful chair that you've made. You're just getting, really nice, so it's just like really solid. You've got that solid part. Then if you wanted to write something longer, you could build around that. But I'm helping you to just get to the solid part. That's the hardest critical thinking to do. Who's going to be your number one line going out on tonight when the Leafs are playing, Pittsburgh? And you've got to make a decision. 12 guys, your first line hasn't been performing. You've got to make some choices. You're going to change. You're going to put Austin Matthews on the bench because he's not delivering. You've got to make choices on who you're going to put out there, right? And that's hard. Kyle? Yeah.
Unless you're writing a progressive rock song and it's like 20 minutes.
That's right. Well, if you have a progressive rock song, we should listen to it. Okay? We should. Everybody online, I see Root. Is it possible to get feedback? Yes, Root, you need to email me, okay? And I will, would you like some feedback generally now to the class? Root, I can do that on participation marks. Would you like that? Or would you rather this be done one-on-one? Okay, so he's asking for the participation marks. Essentially what I said, Root, applies to the discussion posts that you've been doing. One thing I have been seeing a little bit with the discussion posts is some of them seem like they're AI written, really well written, not the content I would expect. Root, essentially what I've said applies to the participation discussion posts as well, except here's one thing that's happening. Some students are posting their discussion posts several days after the due date. What do you expect me to do at that point? I have to mark you down for lateness unless you had come to me beforehand and said, I can't deliver this on time. If you're handing in discussion posts a week, 2 weeks after, I will give you probably 1 out of 3 for at least making the effort, but you failed, for sure. Doesn't matter how good it was. If it's great, I might take it to 2 out of 3, but you've got to hit your deadlines. Does that make sense, Root? If not, just let us know in the live chat, and we're going to try and keep this moving, as Donald Trump would say, keep it moving and damn everything else. Okay, enough. We have to start. Before I say anything further, I would like to ask all of you to get ready to make a choice. I would like to have a discussion today about what does the result of the general election that just took place this week mean for our future in Canada, not just America. What does it mean for humanity? Now, all I'm going to say before we begin a little discussion and debate and get ready, for all of you online too, because I'm going to ask you to do something. The students here already have been prepped for this, so they know what's coming. I set them up while we were getting technically ready. History has to be not just about knowledge, but about action. If you learn something about the past, don't you think that it should be something where there's a lesson that will help improve the future? And if there's a lesson to be learned from our short history of the world going forward, we will try to identify what those lessons are so that you can act more wisely in the future. Well, history is not just about looking to what's happened in the past. It's also looking at what's happening around us today. We are living through history in so many ways today. It is a remarkable age in which to live the 21st century and the third millennium. What happened in the United States this week cannot be exaggerated. It cannot be understated. It is a tectonic shift in the United States and its future. And I will stop there. I want all of you to be able to have a discussion guided by me with historical perspective being brought in when I can, so that we can make a list on our cards at the end of today's class of what are some of the critical questions that need to be asked, and maybe what are some of the lessons that we might have learned about the great democratic superpower in the world. This is not a partisan discussion from your professor. Your professor is not going to try and convince you of anything. He wants to help you to understand. However, you're going to need to make some choices in order for the discussion to proceed in a very meaningful way. Here's what I'd like to do first. For all of you online in the cosmos, just watch and listen. I will come to you in a moment. And for all of you watching the recordings, watch what's about to unfold. These are brave people right now. All of us, we're together, we're classmates right now. I'm going to ask all of the students right here, for those of you who are satisfied with the result of the American election and believe that Donald Trump was the right choice to make, we believe it's the second time in the history of the American Republic, just the second time, it might be the first, I have to check my facts, when a president has lost an election, was out of power, and then returns to power. I believe it's the first, it might be the second, but it's the second? Huh? Exactly. So that's the history. This man has just won a decisive mandate among the 345 million Americans. What happens in the United States affects the whole world. There's no other country with this kind of impact. Yes, Alec?
You just said 345 million Americans, right?
Yes.
Only 144 million showed up to vote.
We'll check that, but you're probably right, okay? The other thing, I'm glad Alec mentioned that today, is that in a moment when the students move, we will have the benefit today of something that is really important for you to understand. Facts. Behind me is a website that is recognized as one of our best fact-checking services available. 20 years it's been providing its services from the University of Pennsylvania, Annenberg Center of Public Policy, and it's called factcheck.org. Before I finish what I'm about to say, let's first have a little movement of people, and let's see what happens. For those of you who are satisfied and would have voted for Trump, and you're happy, or if you just think this is the right decision, would you go over to that side? It's okay. He's brave. A lot of people are not going to go there, but most Americans did. Ethan, could you come and sit right here for now, okay? For those of you who don't like the choice that the Americans made, could you come over here to that side? So Ethan, do you want to sit over here? Yeah, good. Okay. Max, are you going to sit with Ethan? Excellent. By the way, most Americans are with them. So let's go over here. The ones that are definitely concerned and would never have voted for Trump, please come over here. I'm not taking any sides, okay? So I'm going to assume that Raven, definitely you wouldn't vote Trump. Shannon, in the middle? Okay, go in the middle, okay? Because we're going to have our middle here, okay? In our middle, and what's your name? It's, Sal, middle or there, okay. What's that? Yeah, you have to go, yeah, that's fine, no problem. Okay, Josiah, are you going to take, like, definitely not Trump? Kamala Harris, I would have voted for. Would that be you?
I can say the first part of that, not the second.
The first part of it, not the second? Okay, so the first part is you're against, but you wouldn't have voted Kamala.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, we'll sit over here, all right? Mackenzie? Yeah? All right. And where would you like to sit? Would you like to sit with the vote against Trump? Not sure? Or for Trump? Where would you?
Against.
Against, okay, great. Mackenzie is over here, in the middle. Kyle, where would you like to go? Pro, excellent. Pro, oh, in the middle, okay. So middle, you can sit here or you can stand. Where would you like to go?
I'll go middle.
Middle, okay, stay. Middle, okay. Middle, okay, just come up a little bit so we can see. Okay, so let's establish that we had the beginning of a great discussion because it's very easy in Canada, as a lot of Canadians, to be against Trump. Okay, there are reasons for that. But here in Canada, look at this, 3. And that's how Americans voted. Something like, I don't know, 277 or more of the electoral votes in the US. The electoral college, the votes are kind of like ridings in a parliamentary election. Sort of like that. Okay? But Trump not only won the electoral riding, he also won the popular vote too. He didn't do that in 2016 when he won. Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but Trump won the electoral vote. So Trump, it was a decisive win. So they're on a pretty good side here. Okay, for those of you online, are any of you willing to declare what side you would be on by simply putting one word in the live chat? If it's Trump, just put Trump. If it's Kamala Harris, put Harris. And if it's something else, put something else. And let's see if anything comes up in the live chat. Because some of the students may not want to say anything. This is not an easy discussion to have. Neutral, middle, okay, neutral, great, okay. So now the next thing that needs to begin is our discussion. And I want to hear from all of you the best we can why you've chosen to come over here. And not only that, when you speak, you have to come up here and sit here. Are you okay with that? So I think, to be fair to the victor, that you see Root in his victory speech with his family, his son, you know how tall Barron Trump is, his youngest son, he has children from other marriages. Have you seen how tall he is? 6'9". Yeah. Do you know how tall Donald Trump is? 6'3". Do you know how tall Melania Trump is? 5'11". These are big people. America's big. And they are right. At least until we hear what they have to say. So why don't you come up, one of you, who's ready to talk and say why you think that this person, with him, his vice presidential candidate, a young American, J.D. Vance, who's also an author and an ex-Marine, very smart guy. You know, the powerful duo. Why you would choose them? Which one? Do you want to try Ethan? Yeah, come on up, okay? Let's give Ethan, and I'm going to give him the microphone. And what we're trying to do is understand what this means for our future. And I will do my best. Come grab a seat here, or you can stand, whatever you're most comfortable doing. I will try and provide historical perspective later. The critical thing is to give you a chance to speak and tell us why this history that's just been made is important for our future. But go ahead, Ethan.
The reason why I chose Trump over the other person is because I feel like he has more like accomplishments, like more like a history of a record of like accomplishments, and like has a more like higher like seniority. He has done more in the world to like deserve that spot, and he has more like promises out there.
Yes, yes.
And he's promised for the money for like groceries and like that for the USA, not for Canada. But for the USA, he's going to make the prices lower and try to help help them more.
Excellent, excellent. Well, and I'm not going to ask any questions yet. I want to give everyone a chance to speak, and then we can kind of mix it up a little bit. It won't be quite a UFC cage fight, I promise, okay? But if you want it to be, because cage fighting is popular, we can do that, but that would not be, that would hurt too much. Okay?
The only issue I have standing on this side is because when he talks, he's very hearing and racist. That's my issue with my only issue with him, with supporting him, being on that side, is some of the words he says when he's talking, he's not thinking when he's speaking.
And don't you think that's like, it doesn't language matter?
It does, yes.
It does, okay. Anything else, Ethan?
No.
Okay, thank you very much, okay? So give me a hand, it's the first one up, okay? Let's go over here and, Raven, why don't you come up and tell us the opposite side? You okay, or just side?
Wait for the others.
Yeah, okay, wait for you ready, Mackenzie? Want to try? Let Mackenzie come on up, okay? Let me get Mackenzie, because usually she hasn't been speaking as much, but she's been writing well, okay? Way to go. So Mackenzie, tell us why you wouldn't vote for him.
I will say, very good point about like accomplishments and all that.
Yeah.
Trump had. For me, just I don't find him very trustworthy. He with his when he won last time, he made a bunch of promises. I don't remember what they are, but I do know that he didn't fulfill on all of those. And I do find he's more towards like the business, like rich heavy side, which does not help with the inflation.
Yeah. So basically, not to be trusted.
Yeah.
Not to be trusted. Anything else you want to add to that? Okay, very good. Okay. Let's go to the middle for a second, and Alex, you've already spoken, but let's see. I just don't want to go default. Shannon, you want to come up?
Sure.
Or Shannon, why don't you come up, okay? And just sort of, Shannon's going to give the middle, and we'll go online and see who's ready to jump on their microphones. And but we're getting positions, okay? Just trying to understand a little bit. Your thoughts?
I mean, I don't really trust politicians. Like I have views that kind of align with both sides, both like Republican and Democratic. I don't really trust politicians to follow up on their promises. They just say whatever they want to get elected.
Yeah.
Get paid. If they don't get elected, they don't get paid. So that's how I see things.
But, so, Shannon, we live in a democracy, right, where we vote. So, do you vote normally?
I do vote, yeah.
You do vote, so, but you kind of hold your nose when you vote?
Yeah.
You hold your nose.
I kind of just vote for whoever's not in charge.
So you take the contrarian view. Okay, fair enough, that's good. So, you're in the middle right now because you just don't trust anything any of the politicians say.
Yeah.
But could you be convinced that there might be good politicians? Do you think you could be convinced?
Potentially.
Potentially.
I just feel like anyone who stays in politics long enough to become like the leader of a party,
Yeah.
it's corrupting, I feel like.
It's good.
Power.
It's power. It's for power only. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Thanks. Good. Let's keep it going. Hold on to the microphone, okay, for a second. So we've just started. Okay, we've just started to get a sense of positions. We're going to move this along. And for those of you online in the Cosmos and also the recordings, we're experimenting today with what I think could be a really interesting format that we hope to develop further in these weeks to open up this classroom to the rest of the world, to have a discussion for all young people, very straightforward about the meaning of this direction the United States is taking for humanity. So I'm trying to get this circle working, get everybody sort of contributing, leading to some insights, some notes that we make. Okay, so in the Cosmos online round, is there anybody who's prepared to come in on their microphone that would like to say something? Or would you all like to stay sort of on your keyboards right now? Because I want to make sure you have a chance to really speak in the real time. You don't have a mic? Okay, Corey, is there anyone? I'm going to give you 5 seconds to think about this and put a yes if you would like to get on your microphone. Otherwise, I'm going to keep everything focused to what's happening here, and we'll come to the live chat every so often. So is there anyone who would like to jump on the microphone right now and give us their position? Just say yes if you would like to in the live chat, and you have 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Good. So they're going to stay on the keyboards, but they're listening. Not a problem. Okay. So let's try this again. Okay. Let's go around again, but we're going to start from this direction, and then we're going to have some back and forth. Alec? A comment. Okay. Everyone loves democracy until the person they don't like wins. So Alex, could you elaborate on that? And this is where being on your microphone helps, because we can get it in real time. Could you tell us what that means?
All I'm saying is that one.
Okay, your keyboard, if you can, we'll give him 10 seconds to write this. I'm trying to figure out how to use this live chat so it doesn't slow us down. It always, Alex, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not seeing anything there in the live chat. Put it there a little later, we'll come back to it, okay? Josiah, you're ready, you're always ready. Why don't you come and tell us, and we're gonna go back one more time, and then we're gonna start the interaction. Why are you wouldn't vote for Trump?
Okay, there's a bunch of reasons. I feel like people know them. There's the fact that he represents, and regardless of his own policies, he represents as his constituents a part of American politics that is scary. It's a lot more right wing than I think people were expecting or are used to. This is how it's not that that's all of his things, but
yeah.
I do believe that a lot of his voters, if they're not already pretty extremely right, are sliding that way.
And what does right wing mean? You know, this is a term,
okay.
Left wing, right wing, we hear it all the time now. So polarized. What does right wing mean?
It's an encapsulation of a bunch of different ideas, but I guess you could say conservative belief in keeping or returning to a perceived set of traditional values that may or may not have ever existed. The idea that if we just either keep as we are or go back to how things used to be, things will be better. Things will stay or improve. Will stay good.
Right.
That is the right way to do it. And there's other types of things of that too, like we need a stronger leader, stronger society. We need to keep specific groups of people out or down so that they don't ruin what what we, the people who are in charge, have.
Well, there you go. So far in the course, in the story that we've been exploring, and you started to look at some of the development of early and ancient civilizations, and we've looked at the origins of government a little bit and how that emerged. What impression have you had about the way human societies have governed themselves? Like what sort of leader have human societies generally been choosing in history that we've seen so far?
People have really liked kings for like way too long. I don't know why that's like a constant.
Yeah, we'll start with a little bit of interaction. So go ahead. Yes, go ahead and finish, and then we'll come to Alec, and then we'll come back.
A different thing, so.
Yeah,
I just wanted to touch on what you were saying.
make sure you have the microphone, hold the microphone, and yeah, stay. And we'll give Josh, we'll give Josiah this. If the battery's good, I'll help you there. Yeah.
So a lot of the people tended back in the day to hover around kings per se. Was more on the fact that they felt like kings were warriors. And usually the first kings were usually warriors, people who fought massive battles, massive lands, and were able to command huge amounts of troops. And so they felt they kind of hovered to these people for protection. So, I'm going to farm on your land. In return, you get some yield, but then you protect me from so and so.
Remember Gilgamesh? And that's a real statue, clutching that lion in his tail, like really powerful men who slay things and protect you from danger.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And returns to the election nowadays, right? Same idea. A lot of Americans are like, oh, we want a big, strong, like powerful king to protect us, because they feel like tradition, like you said, traditional American values are becoming less and less traditional and stomped on, and becoming more foreign. More foreign policies are starting to affect the American people, which is why they're like, oh, Trump is going to make America great again, i.e., get us back to those original traditional values.
Do you want to say anything to that?
No, I don't agree with you.
It sounds like Alec should be over here.
No,
Yeah, but
I'm not pro on either.
Yeah, but
I like to do
Good.
it.
So I think
Yeah.
something that's interesting about this election is that it's almost less that Trump won, so much as the Democrats lost. Like, they won the last election. They practically had this in the bag, but they fumbled both this campaign and Biden's presidency as a whole so hard that it was hard for people both. That was easy for conservatives and people who are already kind of that don't necessarily like Trump to vote for him, as opposed to this. What's that thing? Something with everything with the economy. A lot of people just kind of worry about how much gas costs.
The economy comes up a lot. Kyle, you want to come? Make sure you get a microphone, okay? And then you can stand there. Go grab a seat, okay? You keep the microphone for now. That's great. Way to go. We're kind of experimenting with this format to make it more fluid today with the microphones. But come on up, Kyle. Okay. Kyle, by the way, just so you know, is more in the middle as Alec is right now, listening and thinking. Go ahead.
Right. Yeah, I'm not very political. So I'm in the middle. But like you mentioned earlier about the campaign being a fumble, Biden's popularity was really low. Obviously you don't want to vote someone who can't stand on stage and speak.
Yeah, he's getting old. No question. Right? That's why
I have nothing against the guy, but anyway.
Yeah.
So his popularity was low. Nobody liked him. She couldn't seem to differentiate her policies and her campaign party to away from Biden. Sorry. So a lot of people compared her to Biden, and obviously the polls showed that too. Right? She only had a couple months to, it was a mess. It shouldn't have happened. But she only had a couple months to get a campaign going, and she did pretty good. But Trump's, what do you call it? It's a word. He's relatable, right? He's already been elected before, so I guess it's just comforting for people to vote him, and that's what happened.
Kyle, just a little bit of context. Why does it matter so much to be talking about this person right now for all of us and spending this amount of time on him in our history class? Why should we be doing this?
Well, because it's history, because it will be in the making. I mean, it's already history in the making, right?
It's history in the making. And And why is the United States has been so important in the world? I might be able to give you a little context for this, in terms of our story, but let's see. Remember, elections happen all the time, all over the world, but I've chosen, for our purposes, to concentrate on this because I think it's important. But I want to make sure when you leave today, you understand that the United States is very important in the story of humanity too, in terms of what it represents, or was supposed to represent. But did you want to try and answer that, Ethan? Okay, go ahead. All right. Yeah, thanks, Tom. Stay up there, pal, for something.
I think that the USA is very connected to Canada, so whatever's gonna happen over there is gonna happen over here as well. In some ways, but it won't be the same, but it may be worse for us, or maybe bad, and because we're connected with the army with them.
Absolutely.
So
Well, everybody is, in one way or the other. Everybody is connected with them.
Right, world economy,
World economy,
world military, largest trader in Canada. They have most money, they have most influence in the world, they have bases in the entire. Anywhere you go, there's an American base, whether it's.
how did the Second World War end?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a whole different story.
That's true,
I can talk about
but Winston Churchill, practically begging the American president to come into the war and help defeat Hitler. And finally, the Americans did, late in the game. Same in the First World War. Then Hitler killed himself in a bunker in Berlin. But then the US and the rest of the world had to do with Japan. They had their emperor, their strongman. Japan attacked at Pearl Harbor. Bombed all the Americans there. That was the first time the United States had been attacked by a foreign power. The second time, September the 11th, 2001. Americans decided to end this once and for all. Harry Truman, American president, making the fateful decision. Do I use the nuclear bomb or not to end the war? The science had developed it. Albert Einstein had come to the Americans in the Second World War before and said, we figured out how to split the atom. We don't want Hitler to have this science. You have it. And then the Manhattan Project was developed. Robert Oppenheimer developed the technology. You know the movie. You've heard about it. I'm sure you've seen it. The Americans decided, yes, Japan will not surrender. They said they were going to bomb them and use this new weapon, and the emperor said, nope. And the Japanese people said, nope. And the Americans said, we're going to pound you. We're going to hit you with this. And the Japanese said, nope, we don't want peace. They were given a choice. And the Americans then decided, we're going to hit them with a nuclear bomb. And that ended. Second World War done. Hitler did in a bunker in Berlin. Japanese, many thousands, obliterated, evaporated from nuclear weapons. Their bodies were disappeared, and their outlines of their bodies were put on walls. The power of that atomic weapon was so great. America has been seen as the protector of freedom. Look at that. The flag everywhere in the world. The United States protector. And now Donald Trump is emerging. Yeah, I'm going to protect you. And that's the United States. So they're important in so many ways. But from the standpoint of history, the 20th century, the two world wars, not the Friday night of the First World War. It's like those are the worst conflicts in human history. More people died, more machines were used. It ushered in a whole new era for the world, and the United States was front and center. So they're so important, right? Okay, good.
Yeah, they're gonna. Well, he's starting to pull out of NATO, and like you were saying earlier about the states being the world power, right? So they have more influence in NATO than any other European country, which is kind of funny since they're far from Europe, right? So if they pull it out, right? Well, other countries have to.
Yeah.
Because they were promising for their budget to increase on their military spending. and only a couple countries have done that, so he's starting to pull out. So that's obviously a danger.
Finally, I would just reiterate a point, and we'll come to Alec. I think I said this last week. Justin Trudeau's father said about living next to the United States as we do. Did I give you that quote from last? Oh, good, I didn't. Maylene, can you write this down? A nice big, living next to the United States on the longest undefended border in the world is like sleeping with the elephant. Yeah. 30 million here, 35, 345 million down there. The elephant moves his trunk or passes wind, it's a storm over here. If the elephant decides we don't want cars made in Canada anymore, 80% of the cars made in Canada go to the United States. Oshawa plants, others.
Hey guys, I think the audio and video cut out. Guys? Sir, I don't think the audio and video cut out.